The skies have never been empty. From the dawn of civilization to the nuclear age, humanity has looked upward and wondered, are we truly alone? Across continents, the stories repeat. Lights moving silently above disaster zones, metallic shapes gliding across the heavens, beings descending from the stars, offering knowledge, power, and warnings we can barely comprehend. In Asia, these mysteries run deeper than legend. They are woven into faith, carved into artifacts, and whispered in the darkest hours of catastrophe. From the great earthquake of Japan to the vanished civilizations of China to modern governments forced to admit what they once denied, the evidence grows impossible to ignore. What if the gods of the past were not gods at all? What if the lights we see in the skies are the same beings who shaped our history thousands of years ago? And what if they never left? Tonight the journey begins. This is Aliens over Asia. The ground convulsed beneath Japan with a violence unseen in living memory. A 9.0 magnitude earthquake ripped open the seafloor, shifting the island nation nearly 8 feet in a single breath of geological time. Roads twisted like ribbons, bridges shuddered, concrete towers bent and cracked as if made of paper. The sound was not merely noise, it was the voice of the earth itself, deep and unrelenting, a growl from the planet's ancient heart. But the shaking was only the herald. Out on the Pacific, the ocean began to rise. Walls of water gathered, growing higher, stronger, unstoppable. Then came the roar. A tsunami towering nearly 130 feet charged inland. Villages vanished in seconds. Cars, homes, entire neighborhoods were swallowed and carried away as though they had never existed. The sea took everything, leaving only silence and ruin. Amid this devastation, another crisis was born. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant stood battered by quake and wave. Its reactors overheated, containment walls fractured, safety systems failed. Invisible poison, radiation leaked into air and sea. Authorities ordered mass evacuations. Tens of thousands fled. But inside the danger zone, a handful of workers remained. Exhausted, terrified, yet unyielding, they battled to prevent a catastrophe that threatened not only Japan, but the whole of Asia. And in those desperate hours, whispers began. For the men who stayed behind were not as alone as they believed. Before the sea had even retreated, strange reports emerged. In the skies over Fukushima, people spoke of lights, pale orbs, metallic shapes, silent silhouettes cutting across the smoke-filled heavens. Some glided with unnatural precision, others hovered motionless as if watching. Witnesses swore beams of light descended from them, touching the crippled reactors, probing or perhaps intervening. Farmers, evacuees, even a few shaken rescue workers told of these objects. They appeared before the quake, returned after the waves, and lingered when the nuclear plant trembled on the edge of destruction. The stories spread like sparks in the darkness, quiet, fearful, yet impossible to ignore. Ancient astronaut theorists would later ask, were these not coincidences but signs? Had something from beyond our world been present, not as distant watchers, but as guardians standing silently in the smoke? For if the reactors had truly melted down, entire regions of Asia might have been rendered uninhabitable for centuries. Did these mysterious craft intervene, lessening the impact, preventing the worst outcome? Or were they here for reasons beyond human imagination, an agenda hidden within disaster, written in the language of light? Fukushima was not the first time humanity's darkest hours seemed to attract watchers from above. 25 years earlier, on the other side of the world, another reactor had failed. April 26, 1986, Chernobyl. A night sky lit up with fire as a nuclear reactor tore itself apart. Concrete roofs crumbled. Flames shot into the heavens. Radioactive smoke bled into the wind, drifting across Europe. Entire towns were abandoned. Soldiers, firefighters, and workers gave their lives, stepping into invisible death to contain what could not be contained. Yet among the chaos, another story whispered itself into existence. Witnesses, residents, soldiers, even engineers spoke of something impossible. They described glowing shapes above the plant, moving silently, hovering where no aircraft should be. Some swore they saw beams of light shining down into the burning reactor, as if measuring or repairing. What was it that night? Hallucinations born from fear, or a presence drawn to the brink of human self-destruction? Ancient astronaut theorists point to the eerie similarities. At Chernobyl, as at Fukushima, witnesses described UFOs during the meltdown itself. Not after, not before, during. At the exact moment humanity's survival trembled in balance, objects appeared that no one could explain. Could it be that an intelligence far older, far greater than our own was watching these moments, and when disaster reached its peak, chose to intervene? And if so, why? Some believe the answer is simple: protection, not of us, but of the Earth itself. For while human life is fragile, fleeting, replaceable, the planet is irreplaceable. A full meltdown at Fukushima could have poisoned oceans, winds, and skies. At Chernobyl, it could have rendered entire continents barren. If these objects were real, perhaps they were not saving mankind. They were saving the planet from mankind. Across time and across nations, one unsettling pattern repeats. When humanity stands on the edge of ruin, the unknown appears. Strange lights above battlefields, metallic craft hovering near nuclear silos, silent objects seen during the world's greatest disasters. Are these merely coincidences, or are they the fingerprints of something greater? Historians record that during World War II, pilots on both sides spoke of glowing orbs, Foo Fighters, that danced around their aircraft, defying all physics. Cold War soldiers reported triangular crafts above missile fields, objects capable of shutting down entire nuclear arsenals with a pulse of invisible energy. Civilian witnesses described disks and spheres silently moving above cities just as chaos unfolded below. Again and again, these stories converge. Wherever humanity wields its most destructive power, there are shadows in the sky, watching, waiting, sometimes interfering. Ancient astronaut theorists whisper of a hidden hand in history. Not the hand of kings, not the hand of governments, but the hand of an unseen intelligence, guiding, restraining, even shaping our path. Could it be that our history is not fully our own? That wars, disasters, even the rise and fall of civilizations have been touched, nudged, or steered by those not of this earth? If so, their motives remain veiled. Perhaps they see us as children, reckless but full of potential, in need of guardianship until we learn responsibility. Or perhaps they see us as dangerous creatures who must be contained, watched carefully, lest we bring ruin not only to ourselves but to the fragile world we inhabit. The truth is terrifying either way, because it means our future, our very survival, may not rest entirely in human hands. Far from Japan and Ukraine, across oceans and continents, another nation dared to do what most others would not: look directly at the mystery. Chile. In 1997, the Chilean government created a committee unlike any other in the world, the Committee for the Study of Anomalous Aerial Phenomena. Civilian pilots, military officers, even commercial air traffic control were instructed: report everything. No dismissal, no ridicule, no silence. For Chile had long known the skies above their mountains and coasts were anything but empty. One of the most striking cases unfolded in 2014. A Chilean Navy helicopter flew at 500 feet along the coast of Santiago. Onboard, trained officers scanned the skies with thermal cameras. Suddenly, their instruments caught something: a shape, long and metallic, trailing an exhaust-like plume. But it was no aircraft, no missile, no drone. For 9 minutes they recorded it as the object drifted, accelerated, and performed movements beyond any known technology. The footage was studied for 2 years. Meteorologists, engineers, aviation experts all examined the video, yet none could explain it. It was not a weather balloon, not a plane, not a meteor. It remained unidentified. Why Chile? Why were its skies chosen for such a display? Perhaps because South America has always been tied to the heavens. In Peru and Bolivia, ancient cultures spoke of beings of light descending from the stars, teachers who gifted knowledge and technology. These myths are not dust-covered relics. They live in the blood of the people, and their stories pass through centuries. For Chile, to accept UFOs was not heresy. It was heritage. And so, unlike other nations that buried the truth under secrecy, Chile pulled it into the light. Their message to the world was simple. We are not alone, and we have the evidence to prove it. For decades, Japan stood in silence. Its government maintained a wall of denial, insisting that UFOs did not exist, that no such craft had ever entered their skies. Official statements dismissed reports as misidentifications, illusions, or fantasies. Yet beneath the polished surface of denial, whispers circulated among those who truly knew the sky. Fighter pilots, wing commanders, air defense officers, men tasked with protecting Japan's airspace shared stories quietly, away from microphones and headlines. Stories of cigar-shaped craft gliding above clouds. Objects that moved without sound, without exhaust, and without warning. Some pilots reported their instruments going haywire, alarms shrieking as if the aircraft itself was panicking in the presence of something it could not comprehend. One student pilot even recalled losing control entirely. His craft shuddered, its systems failing, as a gleaming, elongated object drifted silently nearby. It lingered only moments before vanishing into the horizon, leaving behind a cockpit filled with fear and confusion. For years, such incidents were locked away in silence, spoken only between colleagues. Reports were never made public. Official policy was simple, say nothing, but silence cannot last forever. In September 2020, everything changed. Japan's defense minister, Taro Kono, broke the long tradition of secrecy. He ordered the self-defense forces to record, document, and secure visual evidence of any encounter with an unexplained craft. The announcement was unprecedented. For the first time in modern history, Japan admitted the possibility that its skies were not its own. Observers noted the timing. Just 1 month earlier, Kono had met with his U.S. counterpart, Defense Secretary Mark Esper. The two allies spoke not only of defense, but of cooperation. Cooperation against a threat that, perhaps, did not come from Earth at all. From silence to confession, from denial to acknowledgement, Japan had taken its first step into a wider mystery. And with that step, the world was forced to wonder. Had the guardians of the sky finally made themselves too visible to ignore? Long before fighter jets patrolled the skies of Japan, long before nuclear power plants trembled at the edge of disaster, the Japanese people told stories. Ancient stories of beings who descended from the heavens. They were called kami. In Shinto, the oldest and most enduring faith of Japan, kami are not a single god but a vast multitude of celestial beings. Some dwell in rivers, mountains, and forests. Others inhabit animals, storms, or even inanimate objects. But among them are the most mysterious. The kami said to have come down from Takamagahara, the celestial palace in the sky. For thousands of years, shrines have been built across the Japanese archipelago, over 81,000 of them, each one believed to be a dwelling place for these visitors. When the people bow, pray, and leave offerings, they are not only honoring invisible spirits, they are reaching toward beings who once walked among them, beings who descended in light, and perhaps in craft of metal and fire. Descriptions of the kami vary. Some were radiant, their forms blinding, their voices echoing like thunder. Others were more human-like, stepping between worlds with ease, instructing mortals in rituals, order, and balance. They were both familiar and alien, guardians, teachers, and sometimes terrifying forces. What if these were not gods at all? What if they were travelers, extraterrestrials, whose presence became enshrined in faith, their technology mistaken for miracles, their descent remembered as divine? And what if they never left? Modern UFO sightings in Japan echo these ancient tales. Lights hovering above shrines, cigar-shaped craft moving silently through the night, objects watching military training exercises from just beyond radar range. To believers in the ancient astronaut theory, these are not coincidences. They are continuations. The kami of the past are the UFOs of the present. If this is true, then Japan's relationship with the sky is older, deeper, and stranger than we can imagine. And perhaps the beings worshipped for millennia are still here, watching, guiding, and waiting for the day when humanity is ready to understand who or what they truly are. Across the sea in the heart of ancient China, another legend whispers of celestial descent. It speaks of Huangdi, the Yellow Emperor, revered not only as a ruler but as the father of Chinese civilization itself. According to the chronicles, Huangdi did not rise like ordinary men. He came from the heavens. It is said he descended upon the people of Earth when they were still fragile, unlearned, and lost. He taught them the ways of medicine, acupuncture, herbs, and healing arts. He showed them the craft of building wooden houses, of casting bronze, of forging arrows and coins. He gave them language, order, and unity. For over 100 years, the Yellow Emperor ruled. He was more than a king. He was a bringer of knowledge, a bridge between earth and sky, and when his work was finished, he did not die as mortals do. Ancient texts say he summoned a cauldron that opened the heavens. From the sky descended a dragon, not of flesh and blood, but of fire and brilliance. Huangdi mounted the dragon and ascended into the stars, leaving the earth behind. To modern ears, it sounds like myth, but to ancient astronaut theorists, it sounds like something else entirely. The cauldron, was it a machine, a device that triggered a gateway? The dragon, was it a craft, glowing and alive with energy, carrying him back to the stars? Perhaps Huangdi was no ordinary man, but a visitor, a being who came with knowledge, guided a civilization forward, and then returned to where he truly belonged. If so, then the foundations of China, the language, the medicine, the technology, were gifts not born of human invention but of extraterrestrial origin. And if the Yellow Emperor once ruled from the stars, could his descendants or his kind still be watching the land he helped create? The question lingers in every temple, every legend, every whisper of ancient China. Was the father of their civilization not human at all? In 1986, deep in Sichuan province, China, construction workers struck the soil and uncovered not stone, not bones, but the remnants of a world forgotten. Beneath the earth lay two massive pits, sacrificial chambers filled with treasures beyond imagination. Bronze and gold masks, towering statues, jade artifacts, ivory carvings. Objects shattered, burned, and deliberately buried, as if an entire culture had tried to erase itself from history. This was the Sanxingdui civilization, a people who flourished 3,000 to 5,000 years ago, and then without warning vanished. They left no written language, no trace of their lives, no human remains. Only their art remained, staring back across the centuries, and their art was unlike anything else on Earth. The masks of Sanxingdui were enormous, their features distorted and strange. Eyes bulged outward, far too large for a human skull. Ears extended long and sharp. The faces were elongated, alien, unearthly. They were not the faces of kings nor of mortals. They were the faces of something other. Scholars debated, were these gods imagined by primitive minds, or were they portraits of beings the Sanxingdui actually saw? In 2007, even China's official press agency posed the question, were these ancestors or extraterrestrials? Some suggested both. Perhaps these beings arrived from the stars, mingled with humanity, and guided this hidden culture before disappearing once more. The greatest mystery lies not only in what was created, but in what was destroyed. Why were the treasures of Sanxingdui broken, burned, and buried? Was it rebellion against their strange masters? Was it ritual, closing a chapter that was never meant to be told? Or was it fear? Fear of something so powerful that even memory itself had to be buried. Today, the hollow eyes of the Sanxingdui masks still gaze from behind museum glass, wide and unblinking, as though waiting for recognition. And in their gaze lingers a question. Did these faces once belong to visitors who walked among us, shaping humanity before vanishing into the void? In the heart of Xi'an, farmers once dug a well and uncovered a sight that defied belief. A clay soldier, life-sized, carved in exquisite detail. But this was only the beginning. As excavation spread, thousands more emerged from the soil. Warriors, archers, horses, chariots, an entire army standing in silence beneath the earth. This was the Terracotta Army, guardians of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. Yet the army is only the outer shell of a far deeper mystery. Beneath the mound lies the emperor's tomb, still sealed, still untouched for over 2,000 years. Ancient texts describe its wonders. A chamber vast as a city, with a ceiling painted as the heavens, stars made of glowing pearls, and rivers crafted not of water, but of flowing mercury. Mercury, liquid metal, toxic, rare, and strange. In modern times, it fuels high technology, electronics, and precision instruments. But in ancient China, what purpose could it serve? Why would rivers of mercury flow through a burial chamber? Archaeologists hesitate to open the tomb, for measurements show dangerous concentrations of mercury gas seeping from the soil even today. The danger is real, but so too is the question. How could ancient builders have harnessed so much of this element? What knowledge had they uncovered or been given? Some suggest the tomb is not a mausoleum, but a machine, a cosmic map, a gateway. The mercury rivers could have been part of advanced technology, intended not to bury the emperor, but to send him back to the stars. Qin Shi Huang was obsessed with immortality. Legends say he searched for elixirs, for lost islands, for the secret to eternal life. What if his quest was not madness, but memory? What if he knew of beings who had already defied death, beings who once walked among his ancestors, beings who came from beyond the sky? The terracotta warriors still stand in silence, their clay eyes staring forever forward. But what they guard may not be a resting place. It may be something far greater, a secret buried in mercury and stone waiting to be revealed. And when it is, humanity may finally have to face the truth. Our emperors, our gods, our history itself may not have been ours alone. From Fukushima's trembling reactors to the forgotten masks of Sanxingdui, from the Yellow Emperor's flight into the stars to the mercury rivers of Qin Shi Huang's tomb, the pattern is unmistakable. Asia's history is threaded with mysteries that defy simple explanation. Again and again, stories of lights, beings, and impossible technology emerge, as if humanity has never truly walked alone. If these are myths, they are strangely consistent. If they are coincidences, they are far too many. But if they are true, then our history, our faiths, and even our future may all be shaped by something not of this earth. The question remains, were these gods, myths, and apparitions really visitors from beyond the stars? And if so, are they still among us today, guiding our steps in ways we cannot yet see? What do you believe lies behind these ancient mysteries? Could the evidence point to protectors who have watched over us for millennia, or to forces with an agenda beyond our understanding? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to uncover more hidden truths of our world, remember to like this video, subscribe to X Site, and join us on the journey into the unknown.